Hey Reddit, I go by Plus here. I'm Jordan, 29 years old, and this all began around 5 years ago. Back then, life seemed perfect. I had a solid career, was fixing up a house I hoped would become a home, and I was in love with the woman I believed was my forever. Her name was Lacey. We first crossed paths at a friend's engagement celebration. She was bold, carefree, stunning, everything I wasn't. Where I was steady and predictable, she was the spark that brought color to my world. And for a time, our differences worked beautifully. Within a year, we were living together, dreaming up wedding plans, even joking about baby names during lazy Sunday mornings in bed. But things started to shift. Lacey began staying out late, always with some excuse: girls' nights, work functions, birthdays I never got invited to. I wanted to believe her, but the distance was growing. She stopped reaching for me, barely made physical contact, and our conversations became dry and awkward, more like interviews than intimate chats. One night, I saw her texting someone after midnight. She claimed it was her boss. Deep down, I knew she was lying. Half a year passed, and I came home one day to find our place half empty. No note. No goodbye. Just a voicemail saying, "I'm sorry, Jordan. I'm not happy. I've met someone else. I didn't mean for it to happen. Please don't try to contact me." Just like that, she vanished. 3 years of memories, gone in seconds. I didn't beg. I didn't chase her. I went completely silent. Blocked her on everything, focused on healing, and threw myself into therapy, work, and time with my dog, Scout, my one constant and loyal companion. A year later, a mutual friend mentioned she'd moved in with a guy named Evan, the same man I had long suspected. Turns out, Evan had been married when they met, and he'd been cheating on both of us. Lacey wasn't special, she was just convenient. I thought that was the end of the story. Then, 2 months ago, I got a Facebook message from her. "Jordan, please don't ignore me. I really need to talk to you. It's important." I stared at that message for an hour before curiosity won. We met at a small diner. She looked tired, worn out, older, and she was holding a baby, maybe 6 months old. She didn't dance around it. Evan had bailed, disappeared just 2 weeks after their daughter was born. He'd been juggling 3 lives: her, me, and his actual wife. The truth hit hard. She was never more than a side piece he tossed aside when reality became inconvenient. Now she was alone, broke, exhausted, and deep in postpartum depression. And here's the twist: she wanted my support. Not as a lover, not even as a stepfather, but as someone to lean on. "She deserves a father figure," she said. "You always talked about wanting a family." I sat in silence. Then I asked her one thing: "Is she mine?" She paused. Then admitted, "No, she wasn't." Lacey thought I'd step up just because I once loved her. That I'd forget how she left me, humiliated me, and plug myself into a role meant for the man she betrayed me with. That I'd be the emotional and financial safety net she burned before needing. I stood up, put $20 on the table, and looked her in the eyes. "You made your choice when you left me for him. Now you're raising his child, alone. That's the life you picked. I'm not your fallback plan." Then I walked out. Never looked back. But the story didn't end there. A week later, I got another message, this time from Evan's wife. She found my contact through a shared acquaintance. What she told me turned my stomach. Lacey had reached out to her too, spinning a new tale. She claimed Evan had abused her, that I was the baby's real father and was refusing to take responsibility. She even fabricated screenshots, fake messages from me, promising I'd take care of them. It wasn't desperation. It was manipulation, pure, calculated deceit. She wasn't just looking for help. She was trying to con money out of Evan's wife by painting me as a deadbeat. Unknowingly, I had become the setup, bait in a much larger con. When Evan's wife, Aubrey, reached out, I laid everything out for her. The messages Lacey had sent, the entire Facebook exchange, and even the paternity results I demanded after her surprise claim that the baby wasn't mine. Aubrey was stunned. Grateful, but shocked. Then she dropped a bombshell of her own. Lacey had tried similar scams on multiple men. Evan had been cheating with several women, and Lacey had contacted a few of them, each time claiming their child was Evan's and asking different men to step in with support. It wasn't just desperation, it was an organized scheme, a mess of lies designed to manipulate sympathy and money. And to think, I almost pitied her. That day taught me something crucial. Not every cry for help is sincere. Sometimes, people aren't asking for your help. They're asking for your wallet, your guilt, your time, your blind forgiveness. But not me. Not anymore. I might have lost her once, but walking away turned out to be the wisest thing I ever did. After I shared what I knew, things escalated quickly. Aubrey wasn't some meek, passive spouse. She was sharp, and a practicing attorney. Within a few days, she filed a police report and began building a legal case. She contacted 2 other women Lacey had allegedly targeted. Both had eerily similar stories. Lacey would assume a false identity online, pose as a distressed ex, and spin elaborate tales to guilt these men into sending money for the baby. Each story had just enough variation to avoid suspicion. Honestly, it was sickening how cunning it was. I didn't want vengeance, I wanted distance. I sent in my screenshots and offered a statement, but that was it. I stayed out of the legal mess. I was done being dragged through her chaos. But Lacey wasn't done. Just 2 weeks after that uncomfortable diner meeting, she showed up at my doorstep unannounced, baby in her arms, tears streaming down her face. I didn't open the door. I watched from behind the peephole as she cried on my front porch for 20 solid minutes before eventually walking back to her car and driving off. That night, she took her heartbreak to social media. She poured her soul into a melodramatic Facebook post, part diary, part guilt trip. She painted herself as a victim, a single mother abandoned by every man she trusted. Claimed I'd emotionally manipulated her, that I'd led her to believe we were building a family. She never mentioned me by name, but anyone who knew us would have no trouble filling in the blanks. But here's what she didn't realize. She hadn't just hurt me. She had scorched every bridge in her life. Back when we were together, Lacey had a younger sister named Megan. Quiet, sweet, the opposite of Lacey in every way. We got along well, though I always kept things respectful and distant. I wasn't trying to be the creepy future brother-in-law. After the breakup, Megan reached out a few times to apologize for her sister's actions. I appreciated it, but didn't think much of it. Until that post. Megan messaged me again. Can I tell you something? You deserve to know. We met for coffee. What she revealed shattered the last pieces of my former relationship. A year before Lacey walked out, she had an abortion, one I never knew about. We weren't exactly planning for kids, but we weren't preventing either. Megan had found out by accident. She walked in on Lacey crying in the bathroom and saw the discharge papers. At first, she assumed I was aware, but soon realized I had no idea. When she confronted Lacey, her sister just laughed. He wasn't ready, she said. Evan thought it was best. That was it. The woman I thought I'd marry had gotten pregnant by another man, while still sharing my bed, eating at my table, talking baby names with me on sleepy mornings, and then erased the evidence like it never happened. The betrayal wasn't just the cheating or the abandonment. It was the cruelty of how little I had mattered to her. How easily she played pretend while carrying another man's child. But I didn't explode. I didn't fall apart. Instead, I felt clear. Like something had finally been removed from me. A sickness I didn't even realize I had. I thanked Megan, hugged her, and left that cafe with a sense of finality I had never known before. I was free. Today, I'm 30. I've relocated to a new city, climbed higher in my career, and I'm seeing someone new, Alyssa. She's grounded, genuine, and transparent in a way that still catches me off guard. No games. No drama. Just honesty. Last I heard, Lacey lost custody of her daughter. Allegations of neglect caught up to her, and the state stepped in. Strangely enough, the person who helped secure guardianship for the child was none other than Aubrey, the ex-wife of the man Lacey betrayed me with. Funny how life circles back like that. As for me, I hold no anger. I don't wish Lacey harm. But I'll never forget what she taught me. Sometimes, the ones who claim to love you the most are the ones who'll cut you the deepest. And sometimes, choosing to walk away isn't giving up. It's surviving.